Tree of Life Synagogue. Multiple gunshots are heard.
The suspect's talking about all these Jews need to die.
Yes, the suspect keeps telling about killing Jews. He doesn't want any of them to live.
5 years, right? Yeah.
My mother lived with me, and Andrea would pick her up for services on Saturday morning. So we were at home, and I heard Andrea come in. She usually brings a package of goodies, some cookies or something. And so I came upstairs, and I walked them out the door, and that was the last that I saw my mother.
On October 27, 2018, I was leading the service for Tree of Life. We started our services at 9:45, and we were starting the Kaddish de Rabbanan.
My wife and I were driving. As we were very near the parking lot, we heard a sound we'd never heard before. It sounded like an awful sound from hell. And I said, "What the heck is that?"
I was in the Pervin Chapel with my mother. Services had just started. Oh, we heard a loud crash. We didn't know what it was.
My wife said, "It sounds like gunfire." And I said, "But in Squirrel Hill? On Shabbat?"
A couple lines into the Kaddish, we heard a noise.
And I knew my brothers went there. They were dedicated congregants, and they went there every day. Both Cecil and David have Fragile X, which is a genetic condition that causes intellectual disability. I said to my husband, "How do I tell my family this?" I just remember my mom screaming in the background that she knew they were both killed.
We took off up the steps and we hid. While we were hiding, we were helpless. We had no idea how many people were coming into the building.
When he came back in, and that's when we got shot, I just laid there and I did not move because I did not want him to know I was alive. I thought I was going to die. I was telling my mother to be quiet on the floor. She was right next to me. We were head to head. I felt for her pulse, which was very faint, so I knew she was gone.
I mean, we lost a large chunk of our morning minyan at one time.
Sometimes it's overwhelming because you just want to slide back into what you were, and you can't.
Since the trial has happened and we've been able to put the case behind us from a judicial standpoint, we feel a little lighter.
Hearing everything and seeing how people like my aunt were terrified for their life, and you can hear that over 911 calls. So I don't think there will ever be closure from that. But we did get the justice that we deserved. It's hard to say that we want to put somebody to death, but that is the maximum sentence that he could get, and that's what we wanted.
We heard a lot of people opining that it's not a Jewish attitude to want to sentence somebody to death, and it's not a Jewish attitude to want to take revenge, and it's not a Jewish attitude. We heard this all over. We weren't allowed to talk.
It's never going to provide us with complete closure, but it has allowed us to focus on really trying to be more active in terms of fighting anti-Semitism.
The attack has made me keenly aware of the threats against all of us as Jews in America, no matter how low profile we might be.
And then you see a lot more security in the synagogues, in the grocery stores, and it's a shame that that's how we have to live.
It's so scary. I mean, you see the security outside of synagogues now.
We're not going to stop living our lives. We're not going to stop going places, but we have to be much more aware of our surroundings, where the exits are.
You need to
educate
the kids at a young age, that this is anti-Semitism and this is what can happen from it, and that you're not immune to it either. It could happen to you and your family.
Just knowing that it's always going to be a fight and that we always have to stick together.
October 7th, when Israel was attacked, I had a range of emotions.
Not only I was feeling it for Israel, but I was also feeling it for October 27th. I feel more of a connection now with Israel, and I feel for them greatly.
The Israeli people are us. We are them.
We feel as if we can reach out and almost touch and give comfort and care and love.
We have Jews around the world, specifically in Israel, that are supporting what happened here in the U.S. on U.S. soil, and they need to know that we support them from here on what's happening now with their loved ones.
It was very important that Israel was supportive following the attack. They came to visit me in the hospital.
To see the love, support, and solidarity with Israel. You know, we live our lives here in this little corner of the world, and yet worldwide we were united.
The 11 people that we lost, I'd rather remember them as they lived than the way they died. You know, Rose Mallinger was always commenting on what people were wearing and kept people happy. Cecil and David were delightful.
This one moment in time that happened at the synagogue is not going to prevent the synagogue from reopening and more joyous moments happening in the synagogue.
Tree of Life was a big part of my parents' life. I think they would be very pleased to know that space is not going to stay empty.
And it will be something new and something bigger and brighter.
I hope someday to be able to stand where our friends died, to be able to embrace their presence because they're still very much with me.
We are going to teach the world what community looks like.
I hope that the Jewish future here in Pittsburgh is beautiful.